Ayan, Doc. Live na tayo. Hello, Comics people. Ako si Mel Kasipit ng Indie Comics Podcast. Yung aming YouTube channel ay Indie Comics Podcast din. So, nag-i-interview kami ng mga comics artists sa Pilipinas, usually. So, kung meron kayong questions, comment nyo lang below. Kasama ko ngayon si Doc Carlo Jose San Juan ng Callous Comics. Hello, Doc.
Hello, Mel. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Ayan. So, ang alam ko lang sa'yo, ang ginawa mong comics yung Callous Comics. Tapos, before ba nun, may ginawa ka pang iba bago ka nag-settle sa Callous?
Actually, hindi Callous yung unang comics ko. Nung high school ako, sumali ako sa high school newspaper namin. Tapos may comics ako doon na nandun yung isang character sa Callous ngayon, si Cal Duck. Siya yung main character. Tapos puro hayop lang yung characters ko. And parang nag-high school life sila. Walang title so di ko rin masabi. And then, nung nag-college na ako, nung second year college, nag-decide ako, sige, try ko sumali sa newspaper doon. And then, natanggap naman ako. And then, gumawa ko ng mga comic strips for my first issue for yung consideration ng editor. Tapos sabi na nga ng editor na kailangan mo ng title. Mag-isip ka ng title, ganyan. Walang maisip. So, doon sa office namin may lumang dictionary na malaki. One early morning nandun ako sa office namin, tapos binagsak ko lang yung dictionary, tapos nag-open siya. Yung unang word na nakita ko, callous. So parang, medyo cool siya. May pagka-edgy pwede. So, yun.
So, ganun lang yun? Aksidente mo lang siyang... Oo.
Yeah, that's it. And ngayon, after many years, nung nag-start nga na nagko-Comicon ako dito sa Pilipinas, ang tawag dito, may maraming nagtatanong, bakit Callous yung name ng comics mo? Nag-isip na nung parang way na mag-connect yung theme ng actual comic doon sa title para may konting meaning. So yung Callous kasi sa wikang Pilipino, kalyo siya. Yung pagkapal ng balat pag na-stress siya, na applyan ng stress ng matagal. So parang naging allegory in life siya. So as you receive the challenges and yung mga stresses in life, nagiging mas tough ka. So you can face the challenges in life easier because lumalakas ka habang may mga challenges.
Ganun pala yun. Paano halimbawa kung yung pinakaunang word na nakita mo, hindi Callous, iba yung title ng Callous Comics na yun.
Gusto yung word, ulitin ko na. Pero to be perfectly honest, yung title na Callous, hindi ko siya masyadong
nagustuhan.
Nowadays, na-realize ko na it's not that great a title kasi siguro yung second na Comicon ko, katabi ko yung mga gumagawa ng Zombies in Manila. Tapos na-realize ko na parang nag-explain ako sa mga everyone na dumadaan sa table ko kung ano yung comic ko. Ang Callous tungkol siya sa doktora na merong guardian duck. Tapos yung lighthearted look at life siya sa medisina tsaka sa everyday life, ganyan. Pero pag may mga dumadalaw doon sa Zombies in Manila, pagkakita na lang ng title, get na kaagad. Gusto ko yan, ganyan. So parang hindi yata maganda yung title ko.
Pero nag-stick ka naman dun which is good, di ba?
Yeah, kasi naka-following, I mean, nag-start yung Comicon, yung comic ko 1996.
1996.
Tapos, even before nag-comic convention ako, may small following na rin ako online, tsaka yung mga dating nagbabasa ng college newspaper namin. Tsaka yung mga dating staff ng newspaper, pina-follow pa rin nila. And then, nung So I had to keep the title kasi in respect to the people who've stuck around from the beginning.
Kaya nga, mahirap naman biglang kang bigla kang magpalit.
Nung nag-med school ako, may school newspaper din dyan. Sumali din ako. Tapos, tawag dito, parang ni-revamp ko yung Callous na maging medically related. Dati kasi parang college sitcom lang siya. And then nung nag-med school ako, ginawa ko med student, ganyan. Tapos yung dating parang side character lang, si Rian, siya yung ginawa kong main character. Tapos yung dating parang series mascot lang, si Caldoc, ginawa ko parang kausap niya habang iniisip, bakit ako nag-medicine?
So parang siya, figment of imagination ni
No, actually real siya from the beginning. Tawag dito, guardian duck siya. Nakikita siya ng mga ibang tao. And parang naging, I had always planned it to be parang a source of conflict na ayaw ni Rian na nakikita siya kasi gusto lang niya mag-live ng normal life. Kung may kasama siyang guardian duck na nakikita ng lahat, ayun na yun. So, agree naman yung mga guardian duck na magstay na lang dyan dati sa dorm niya o kaya ngayon sa bahay niya. But every now and then lumalabas sila na naka-hoodie, ganun party sila makita.
Shout out sa mga nanonood, si Pilar, Ninita Esber, si Tepay.
Oh, hello Pilar. Hi Tepay.
Saka si Rick Robin Paderes Kagnaan. Yan, sabi na. Hello, Doc Kaz. So, Doc Carlo, bakit babae? Alam ko nasagot mo na to sa mga ibang nagtatanong. So, i-review lang natin. Bakit babae yung protagonist? Kasi usually, halimbawa ako, ang bidang lalaki ay ang bida sa mga ginagawa kong comics. Siyempre, lalaki din kasi, di ba? Mas relatable ako doon sa character. Kapag babae naman, babae din. So, ikaw, bakit naisip mo na babae yung magiging main character?
Okay, yung the most honest answer I can give, walang reason. Nung nag-start yung Callous Quacks, yun yung name ng series nung nasa med school ako. Si Rian dati, side character lang siya. Tapos siya yung sister ng main character ko before, si Ren. And when I got into med school, feeling ko, sige, gusto ko yung design ni Rian. Nakikita ko na she would be relatable to a lot of med students kasi gano'n ang itsura ng mga med students, shorter hair, ganyan. And so and I felt na yung dating niya with her design, very relatable siya. But nowadays, a lot of people bring it up nga, bakit babae, lalaki ka, ganyan. No matter what country I'm in, I face that question.
At tinatanong talaga nila lahat yun?
Oh, anywhere I go. And thinking back, kasi wala naman talagang reason. And the world of Callous lives in, it's a world na yung gender equality given na. So there is no gender discrimination or favor for any gender over another. So I never make it a topic na rin because sa actual comic strip. Kasi given na nga, it's not an issue anymore in the world. It is my goal sana na nakikita ko yung cat. It is my goal sana na through, I guess, just through osmosis, people reading the comic strip will get na it's nice na we don't have to talk about it kasi hindi siya issue. And so that kind of reveals what my position in when it comes to gender equality. I'm a big, I champion it a lot. Although it's just a coincidence na female yung main character na to. Because there's so many people are asking me about it, I realize na it's an important thing na babae siya. And the experiences that she goes through, I feel it shouldn't matter whether you're a male or female. It's hard
Totoo.
to be a doctor. It's hard to live in this world, to live in this life.
Mm.
And if for whatever reason that if you're in her situation and you're not experiencing that, if you're not experiencing that you're an equal regardless of your gender or race or whatever, that shouldn't be the case. So, yeah.
Ayan. So, shoutout ulit sa mga nanonood. Si EK, Comic Ninja,
Hello.
sino pa bang bago? Ayan, yun pa lang. Sabi niya, maganda daw yung ano natin, voice. Baka si Doc Carlo lang yun kasi medyo voice-over artist si Doc Carlo.
That's true. Voice-over.
Kwento mo naman, paano ka, bakit ang dami mong ginagawa? Bakit voice-over artist ka din? Saka, alam ko, model ka din, di ba? Na commercial model.
No, nung college ako, I was in the offices ng school newspaper namin. Tapos there was someone from that world na nagsabi na, oy, may studio na tumatanggap ng audition. Before kasi sobrang jokester ako na lagi ako gumagaya ng mga accent, ganyan, or cartoon characters. Sabi niya, oy, Carlo, you should try auditioning. So sabi ko, I'm not going to get in. I have no experience, ganyan. Pero sige, sabi, pinush talaga ako. Try mo lang, try. So, trinay ko, and then natanggap ako. Tapos sa studio na yan, and then nag-record kami ng mga sample scripts. Parang I think binur na lang sa isang CD, tapos sinend na lang sa mga potential clients.
Oh. And naalala mo pa kung ano yung sinabi mo dun sa ano, isang linya nga kung naalala mo pa.
I guess yung pinakasikat na was a radio commercial for Globe handy phone pa yung tawag dati, di ba?
Handy.
And then classic. And my line in all the radio ads, they used my line for all the radio ads, yung Gentex from Globe handy phone, yan. And then
sa mga nakakaalala nung ad na yun, si Doc Carlo yun.
Gentex, naalala niyo pa ang Gentex? That shows how old I am. Naabutan ko ang Gentex.
Si ano yata yung ano nun yung asawa ni Drew? Basta, yung asawa niya yung parang print ad model niya.
Maybe. Sa radio kami ni Donito Rose ang nasa radio ads nila. And then for every month may mga deals na makukuha mo with your Gentex card. So every month siya nag-record in advance lahat for each. Kunyari kung October, para yung theme ng delivery niya for Halloween, parang ganyan. Pero I had to come in every month kasi iba-iba yung deals per month. Kunyari you get free iced tea with your Gentex card in this restaurant, ganyan, and Bravo Malate, parang ganyan. And then so every month pupasok ko sa studio, and then I'd have to read yung mga deals after in line ni Donita. These are your Gentex deals for the month of October, ganyan. And then yung per lahat ng deals ng Gentex, I have to say fast kasi limited nga yung time mo in the radio ad, diba? And then may line yata ulit si Donita, and then yung ending line yung Gentex from Globe Handyphone, ako yun. But hindi yan yung biggest role ko. Yung biggest role ko was on TV. It was ako yung
naging artista ka o commercial?
No, ako yung English voice di Aldred Gatchalian sa ABS-CBN na telenovela na Crazy for You. Aldred Gatchalian was a alumni ng PBB, Pinoy Big Brother.
So recently lang ito, Doc?
No, not recent.
Medyo
I think 2006 yung actual na airing ng telenovela. Tapos yung recording into English was done maybe 2010. Tapos in-air abroad sa TFC.
Nice.
Yun. But may mga bit parts ako sa mga iba-ibang telenovela na kunyari, lalo pa kung doktor ang role, ako yung tinatawag. Tapos para maganda yung pagbigkas ko sa mga medical terms.
Siyempre, legit na medical personnel. So, pangarap mo ba talagang maging doktor nung bata ka pa?
Yeah. Yun, big consideration yan sa potential careers ko. But I wasn't 100% sure. So yung ginawa ko pag-apply sa college, di ba may choices ka? So isang choice ko would be it's called liberal arts or commerce na course, marketing, fine arts, ganyan. Tapos yung other choice ko would be a pre-med. Ganyan kung tawag dito, psychology or chemistry or biology, ganyan. Eventually, I got into BS biology. So, parang, I guess, magiging doktor ako. Doon ako natanggap eh. But even in college, sumali pa rin ako sa art staff ng newspaper doon. And then, kahit even in med school, sumali din ako sa school newspaper for their art staff. So, never naman ako nawala sa art world until siguro yung mga final year ko in med school na there was no way na to maintain yung artistic side ko. Kasi very intense yung training ko doon. And then yung after graduating from med school, required kami to undergo a year of internship. I ended up being matched in UPPGH. So again, there was no way na I could be an artist at the same time. So it wasn't until maybe my second year of specialization na revisit ko yung Callous na comic, and then decided to try to maintain the comic strip at least online kasi feeling ko nun there's no way I would get into newspapers ganyan kasi walang kilala ganyan. Yun yung perception sa akin dapat may kilala ka to get into a newspaper ganyan. So or even just to break into local comics. So parang I gave up on that dream. So but it seemed like the world was starting to lean into online comics. So although I've had a website for Callous Comics since 1997, and then but it wasn't until maybe 2009 na in-update ko siya regularly with new comic strips.
Active pa rin ba yung Callous Comics na website?
Yeah, whenever I can update it. Mas na-update ko yung Twitter, tsaka Instagram, tsaka yung Facebook page.
So, siya? CallousComics.com?
Yes, CallousComics.com. Whenever I have true free time, in-update ko yung website, yung backlog ko ng comic strips na di ko pa na-upload, in-upload ko nun. Meron din sa tapas.io. Callous ang name niya doon. So tapas.io/series/Callous. And then sa Webtoon may mini-mirror ko din yung comic doon.
So sabay-sabay mo silang ina-update?
Whenever I can. Ayun, yung huli nga, March 15 pa. Right when the lockdown, not lockdown, but our local quarantine really began.
Yeah. Speaking of lockdown, Doc, paano naapektuhan ng ang yung work mo nitong COVID-19 as a medical person?
Yung the way we normally do things, I think it affected everybody in many ways. With when it comes to a doctor, we had to be very extra careful in everything we did. Yung when it comes to acquiring and using yung personal protective equipment, the proper hand washing procedure, and making sure we don't touch our face. The things we tell the public to do, we do it also, but with an added strictness. adherence because we see a lot more people who potentially have the disease. So we're a bit more careful. But really, everybody should be doing the same thing.
Totoo.
But when it comes to being a cartoonist, my thought process has been truly centered on the medical side of things. So writing comics and drawing comics kind of naglessen yung priority niya. But now that things are slowly coming back, I've been starting to produce more comic strips again.
May question si Rick Robin Paderes Kaginaan.
Yes.
Sabi niya, Doc Kaz, about Edge of Tranquility. That's
Yeah.
the one collab you and Sir Andrew worked on, right?
Yes. Edge of Tranquility was the thing about Callous Comics is before, even until now, I'm working on something now, but there may fantasy side siya. So the reason is I love fantasy comics. I was a big fan of yung Heavy Metal magazine, and any comic that is of the same flavor. I like comics that are a bit out there. So I wanted to bring that side of my fandom into Callous as well, and there was an opportunity na because the series stars these ducks, diba? And so after thinking about it a bit, I decided Rian can have an adventure in the world of the Guardian Ducks naman. So the Guardian Ducks came to our world, now she goes to their world and may crisis that they have to overcome, and then she gets involved and has this big adventure. So that's the fantasy side of Callous. And when it comes to Edge of Tranquility, that was a planned crossover between Callous and Ambush Comics. We've had crossovers before, but we wanted to have this big adventure featuring our characters. My character would have been not Dr. Rian, but Amami Bunny, and Sir Andrew Villar's Ambush. Yeah. There's actually a gap in the continuity of Ambush Comics that Sir Andrew didn't really explore. Then in a conversation with him, I said maybe I can write something and that involved that gap, so he agreed, and then I gave him a big pitch. He's very excited about it. I started drawing. We released a prologue of Edge of Tranquility and in one of Comic Odyssey's Free Comic Book Day giveaway issues, and it got a good what do you call this? Got good feedback. So we were really excited to push through with it. But I got a bit too busy, and Andrew volunteered to be the artist. So he said, "Sige, just submit. Give me the full script, and then siya na yung magdadraw." And but even making the full script, all I had was yung draft outline of events, ganyan. And making the full script took a lot of time, and unfortunately he passed away before we could get around to doing it. No, and so out of respect to him and his family, I decided not to pursue the crossover. But out of respect then to him, not out of respect, but as a tribute to Andrew, who was a good friend of mine, the sword of one of the Guardian Ducks is the same sword that Ambush had a few years ago. I don't know if you remember, but there was a time may katana si Ambush. So that katana is the same one that one of my characters is still using.
Nice.
So pag kunyari may it's like parang kung fu movie. na may scene na may yung dalawang maglalaban. They introduce themselves. Oh, I am so and so from this school of martial arts.
Yeah.
And then I am a so and so. Ganyan. So what I did is they not only introduced themselves, but they also introduced the sword or the weapon that they're holding. Tapos yung sword ni Mallard Duck, one of my characters, is the Edge of Tranquility, the sword of Amber Tiffany. Ganyan. And so yeah, as a tribute to Sir Andrew, I kept that, and I'm still producing until now the not Edge of Tranquility, but a new story called Rainfall. I'm in the artwork phase of that already. I'm drawing it. I have a few pages done, and hopefully someday I'll be able to to release it.
May iba tayo ng konti, Doc. Sabi ni Mark Rosario, Doc Carlo, as a fan of metal music, aling mga Pinoy metal bands ang hilig mong i-sound trip? Alam ko kasi fan ka ng baby metal.
Yeah.
Lagi mo silang dinudugtog dati.
Yeah. I still am. And another thing was they were supposed to come here itong last May.
Sayang.
For Pulp SummerSlam 20 with Iron Maiden, another band I'd always dreamed to see. Dragon Force and Baby Metal were supposed to come. So I'm really bummed na cancel yun.
Sayang.
But anyway, what do you call this? Pinoy metal bands that I enjoyed or still enjoy. First and foremost would be Wolfgang. I'm a big fan of Wolfgang. I like Bonehead, which is a band where some of my high school batchmates are in, but they have fantastic music as well. I kind of like Slapshock, not all of their stuff, but I like a lot of their music also. So yun.
Sabi ni Sherry kasi nag-watch party ako sa IKM, Indie Comics Manila. Sabi ni Sherry, ganda ng boses ni Doc. Request ng isang kanta.
Yeah.
Kumakanta ka ba, Doc? Sa kanyo?
Even that has a long answer. Pero
ibig mong sabihin talagang kung kumakanta ka?
There was a time. You can find videos of it on Facebook. No, there was
anong genre? Rock?
I think it started. I was in a metal band in high school. I was backup vocal, and then every now and then I would be the main vocalist. And then a bit later on, I joined a musical, Oliver, that was produced by my school. But it was a big production. We had Tony Espejo as our director, and then we held it in Meralco Theater, ganyan. And so that was a fantastic experience, and I had a solo number in that play. I played ako yung kontrabida nun, si Bill Sykes, and not many people know yung song niya kasi wala siya sa movie. But he had a song, and then so I performed that song. Tas orchestra pa siya. Great experience talaga. But maybe a bit later on, I was a resident. I did a few things in bars to relax.
Ano? Nag-gig ka din?
Yeah.
Maraming
yan yung mahanap pa sa Facebook actually.
Maraming nagugulat ngayon sa IKP. Ang dami palang ginagawa ni Doc Carlo.
This was before nag-start yung life ko in comic conventions.
Tapos ka rin, di ba? Nag-i-international convention ka rin. Singapore,
Yes.
Comicon.
Yeah, yes. My first international convention was back then tawag sa kanya Singapore Toy Game and Comic Convention.
STGCC.
And STGCC. And then fortunately the year I decided to join that, sumali din ng Comicon, and they brought some of our friends,
Doon
yourself
ako,
included, di ba? Oh. And so it wasn't that drastic change when it comes to being in a Comic-Con kasi nandun tayo lahat eh.
yeah,
And
totoo. Masaya ka doon, tas hindi pa ganun ka-crowded.
yeah, and I enjoyed the experience so much na every year I try to squeeze that into my schedule of events. Singapore, and now it's called Singapore Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I think may mga 2 or 3 years na di ako natuloy because schedule conflict. But yeah, I still do Singapore Comic-Con. The other one I do is Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle. But that's I can't really plan to be there kasi they choose who gets to be an artist alley. Mag-apply ka. And then if you get accepted, then you get to go.
Mahirap ba na makapasok sa mga international conventions sa US?
Those that curate the artist alley, yeah, it can be a bit tough kasi even people I follow on Twitter, ganyan na ang galing na comic artist, minsan di sila natatanggap eh. I'm like, but ako nakapasok, like, how'd that happen? So I don't really know kung ano yung criteria nila to bring people into
lang sila ka. Joke lang yun, comics people.
To bring people into their artist alley. Pero I felt very fortunate. I did it for 3 years in a row. Itong year I didn't apply. Maybe it was a good thing kasi na-cancel din yung event. But we'll see. Hopefully I get to go again.
May sabi si John. Ako muna. Indie Comics Podcast. Ikaw naman, Doc.
Indie Comics Podcast.
Ayan, pinagbigyan na namin si John, ha. So, nakita ko kasi itong yung collab nyo ni Pilar, yung mouse.
Yes.
Paano ito nagsimula?
Another long story.
MOUSE.
MOU, acronym siya for Multiple Ordnance and Utility Synthetic Entity. So, back nung grade 5 ako.
Grade 5?
Grade 5 ako, gumawa just for myself, gumawa ng comic na may scientist na gumawa ng robot mouse na he can, may papasok niya yung mind niya doon sa mouse na yan to study yung social lifestyle ng mga mice. Kasi mga scientists, they like to study mice. Ganyan. And then, pagpasok niya sa mga walls ng apartment building niya, ayan, may mga little houses, little buildings na mouse city, parang ganyan. But obviously, grade 5 lang on doon, I didn't really do anything with it. When after Metro Comic-Con 2010, that was my very first comic convention where I exhibited. And me being vain, I wanted to see, did anyone write a review about my comic? I wonder what people thought about my comic. Yeah, may mga natanggap din ako mga private message from people who did buy the comic with good, very, very good feedback. So sobrang natuwa ko dun. But the first actual blog post or review that I found was by Pilar Esber. And she had this very nice, well-written review of Callous Comics, my first Callous comic book. And then, and you know, natouch ako, like, wow, she went out of her way to write this nice review about my work. So from her website, may link siya to her DeviantArt page, artist pala siya. And then I really liked what I saw. Because yung art style niya, it was very, it had its own voice in a way. Yung pag nakikita mo yung artwork, alam mo kaagad na gawa ni Pilar Esber yan. I was you know, mouse had always been in the back of my mind for many years, and then I thought maybe I can collaborate with Pilar on this project. So I sent her a nice email thanking her for the nice review and everything. And before I ended the email, parang, would you be interested in doing a webcomic with me? And then she replied quite quickly, yes. So game. I gave my pitch, and then she thought it sounded good. I gave her a script. She started drawing it, and then as the pages came in, pinapost ko din sa mousecomic.com, and yeah, things took off from there. I really liked what she did. I very rarely asked for revisions, and yeah, it's been a joy to work with her because when you write something tapos bibigay mo sa artist, you don't really know what will come back. What would be the interpretation ng artist on what you write, and Pilar's work has been fantastic so far, and I had finished the script for the third issue of Mouse. It's already with Pilar, and I'm very excited to see what she'd come up with.
So, in the works na siya ngayon.
Yes.
Yeah. O Pilar, nakikinig ka ba ngayon? Gawin mo na daw yung comics. Nanonood siya.
Oh no, but she has her own, she has her own things going on. She's also the cleanup artist for another webcomic. The name kind of escapes me, unfortunately, but hopefully she'll write it in the comments. And then she has her own indie comic as well that she's producing. So she's working as an artist. So it's we'll see when she has the time to finish the third issue of Mouse.
Ayun. So, ito namang Immortal Wings. How did it happen? Paano siya nagsimula? Tapos, ang ganda pa ng artwork. Rod Espinosa, multi-awarded international artist.
Yeah.
Prolific. Pinoy Pride.
All right, going back really quickly, Pilar is the cleanup artist for a webcomic called 9 Lives. So please please look for that. Anyway,
may website ba? Para i-flash ko din. O page, Facebook
if
page.
Pilar can put it in the comments, yeah, let's put it up. So Immortal Wings was a comic story that I wrote. I knew from the start that I would not be the one to draw it. And it was very different from what it eventually ended up becoming. But I started writing it in med school while I was reading Heavy Metal magazine. So it's in that flavor, And but I didn't really do anything about it until there was a fantasy art anthology that I was approached to contribute to. Melon yata yung name. I forget what year that was.
Melon yung sila Bench, Bartolome, sila Mike
Yeah. Tama. You're exactly right. And so I contributed artwork to that featuring the two characters that I had for Immortal Wings. Yung parang space babaeng space cowboy, tapos may parang cyber dragon, yung half dragon, half cyborg siya. And tapos nakasakay siya doon, ganyan. And then from that, parang na-spark ulit yung interest ko in producing Immortal Wings. And then, but so every comic convention, you would see me walking around looking at other people's artwork, ganyan, and looking for artists to collaborate with, ganyan. It wasn't until signing events, a Comic Odyssey. I believe it was Sir Jerry Alangilan's Where Bold Stars Go to Die, yata.
Where Bold Stars Go to Die.
Yeah. We had a signing event in Comic Odyssey. Tapos pumunta ako doon. Si Dan Rio Campo, very, very beloved character in person, not character, person in the world of Philippine comics. He from his he decided all of a sudden to introduce me to Rod Espinosa. And unfortunately, I knew very little about Rod Espinosa at the time. But Rod had Dan Ree showed me some of his work, and then he introduced me to Rod. And then just out of the, I liked what I saw. Out of the blue, I just asked him, "Hey, if you're willing, I'd like to do a comic with you. Um, is it okay if I email you my pitch and you just tell me your page rates?" Ganyan. Sabi, yeah, sure, ganyan. And then so I sent him an email, and then he replied with his page rates. Like, oh my gosh, bakit ang mahal? And then, tsaka ko lang na-decide, sige, maybe I should look up who this guy is. Ganyan. And then I saw, oh my gosh, he's an Eisner nominee. He's been awarded many awards. Ganyan. So, yeah, very tama naman yung singil niya. But, I tried to,
Negotiate.
negotiate, and we came into a deal now we were both happy with. And so yeah, we went ahead and produced the first issue of Immortal Wings, and then we both liked it enough that maybe we should pitch this to a publisher, kasi dapat maging webcomic siya. And then he said, since medyo he was in very good terms with Antarctic Press, and he said, oh, now since we do have a completed first issue, and that's the best thing to use as a pitch to a comic publisher, I'll try submitting it to Antarctic Press. Ako in turn tried submitting it to other small publishers, but the first positive response came from Antarctic Press. So they gave us the opportunity to produce it as a 4-issue miniseries. Although I had wanted it to be a continuing series, but beggars can't be choosers. I decided, sige, 4 issues is fine. So the first 2 issues remained as is. I didn't change anything with that. The third and fourth, I had to change things, but we could have a satisfactory whole story, ganyan. At least for the first volume. So yan.
Paano mo hinahati yung oras mo, Dok? Sa pagsusulat ng comics? Kasi doktor, tas ang dami mong ginagawa, paano mo siya hinahati? Paano? What's your schedule? Ano yung schedule mo? Meron ka bang strict schedule?
The tough thing about that is the circumstances of my work makes it hard for me to have a very set schedule. So minsan I would have time to make comics. Sometimes I wouldn't. And early on, maybe around from 2010 to maybe 2015, I did have a regular time to produce comic strips and write and produce comics. But as time went by, I became a bit busier on the medical side of things. So medyo that had to take more priority of my time, along with being a father and a husband. And but still, I would whenever I would have free time, I would dedicate that to producing comics. Back in the day, I would say, if you love something, you would make time for it, and that's still true until now. Yeah.
Alam ko, nagsimula ka, Dok, sa traditional art. So, hanggang kailan ka nag-traditional bago ka nag-switch to digital?
Yes, I was a big fan of producing the comic strips traditionally. So meaning that you would pencil on paper and then ink over your pencils on paper. But even as early as many years ago, I would after the inking phase, I would scan it and then do the rest digitally anyway. So I would use my imaging software to add the colors and the dialogue. I would have to type nga my dialogue kasi my handwriting is pang doktor talaga. And then and then I would email my comic strips that way. But to make I would say just 2 years ago, when I invested in a digital tablet that I could draw comics on, and because I would try yung mga
Pen tablet.
what do you call that? Yung tablet
Mga-
na may parang stylus ka na mga Wacom tablets na ganun na hindi screen yung mga yung surface where you draw on. I would try that, and ayaw talaga I couldn't get into it, so I stuck with traditional. It wasn't until I got my digital tablet with a screen that I could draw on that I really made the jump to being 100% digital.
Yeah. Sobrang portable nga ng iPad. No?
Yeah, and that helped also because you could start working on comics anywhere, di ba?
Bumilis ba yung process mo nung nag-digital ka, or the process is still the same?
I would like to think yes, bumilis siya. Because the phase of having to scan is no longer there. And
Cleaning up after mo in-scan.
Yeah, and even cleaning up your inks before kasi after scanning, kunyari may mali ako sa inking, I would have to edit that, retouch, edit that on digitally. But now, even as early as the inking stage, you can already undo. Kung magkamali ka, you can undo, and so that made things a lot faster nga.
Hindi mo nami-miss yung traditional art? Kasi, di ba, iniisip ko, kung traditional art, tapos personal comics mo, in the future, pwede mo siyang ibenta, pwede mo siyang gawin personal collection. Kapag digital, wala, digital lang talaga siya unless i-print mo siya ito physical book. Tapos physical copy, first edition, ganun.
Yeah. I still have a lot of my old original art, and I don't really know what to do with it. I couldn't ibenta. I want to keep it. So I don't think that's a big importance to me to have the actual original artwork. So no.
Nung time na webcomics si Callous, may mga kasabayan ka bang webcomics na rin na Filipino?
You know what? In the circle of webcomic artists that I would follow on Twitter and so on, ako lang Filipino actually. I would try to find Filipino webcomic artist, and this was back in 2009, I guess. And I really couldn't find any, and there were maybe one or two that I found through a simple Google search. Pero discontinued na rin yung webcomic nila, and so no, I couldn't find any at the time. None in the big webcomic circles. There weren't, although there were many webcomic artists, there weren't that many of us. So it was a fairly tight-knit community done online of being a webcomic artist.
Nung nag-start yung Callous Comics, may ano na nun. Alam ko wala pang Facebook nun eh. Pero may Friendster na nun.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. The Callous actually started in 1996. August 7, 1996 was the first published Callous comic strip in the Lasallian. And maybe a year later, I decided to start a website to archive my comic strips. And so you could say na nag-start yung webcomic life ng Callous Comics back in 1997. And but I didn't really think about marketing online. I don't think it was a big thing before.
Gusto mo lang siyang i-post talaga online.
Yeah, just post it online. Parang feeling the way I was thinking back then. If you build it, people will come. And to a small extent, yes, that was true. And But it wasn't until maybe 2009 when I dared myself to produce comic strips every day. And this was in the middle of residency. Uh, uh, Tsaka lang I thought na, I'm putting all this effort into my comic. I wish more people were reading it. So simple Google lang, like how to promote your comic, your online comic, or how to promote your website, ganyan. Tapos ang dami mga tips, kunyari. And then so I did everything that all the tips na free that I could do, ginawa ko. And some of those tips required a lot of hard work. Like
Ang time na yun, bihira pa yung mga ganung tips. Hindi tulad ngayon na Google mo lang. O kaya,
true.
YouTube lang. Search mo lang, how to ganito, how to ganyan.
Oh, there was a time that if you want your website to appear on Google or Yahoo or whatever, isasubmit pa. No, isasubmit mo pa sa kanila. Like, submit your site to Yahoo, ganyan. So I did all that. There was a thing called WebRing before. Tapos sumali ako sa WebRing where if you go to my webpage, may parang dalawang link sa ilalim na you could go to the next website of this WebRing, ganyan. There was also Stumble Upon before na sikat. And then that actually brought a lot of traffic. Then Reddit also in the early days brought in lots and lots of traffic. And then there was online advertising as well that you could do for free. Yeah, so yun yung ginawa ko din through Project Wonderful, which no longer is running, unfortunately. And then doing all the marketing was 80% of the work for me. Doing the actual comic was 20%. I would be up siguro until 4 a.m. just doing the online marketing, the free online marketing I could do.
4 a.m. Tapos kinabukasan may work ka pa?
Yes. Then I would go to sleep, wake up maybe 6 a.m., get ready for work na. And that was there would be the way my workflow in the hospital works. There would be maybe a few hours where I could rest. In the mid afternoon, ganyan, siguro from maybe 2 p.m. to maybe 4 o'clock. So yun, nakakatulog din ako minsan, and then I'd have to wake up at 4 o'clock and get things going again. But yun, so that was my life maybe for the majority of 2009 and 2010 until by sheer coincidence, I started getting jealous of my webcomic artists abroad. Sumasali sila sa mga comic convention, ganyan. They would show pictures, hey, look, I got a new reader, ganyan. So parang, wala bang ganun dito? Ingit ako nun eh. And then I would start looking online, ganyan. And then the first actually comic convention I saw online was one called Comic Strip. So feeling ko, comic strip, that's perfect for me. That was for webcomics. Yata, I don't remember. But for webcomics siya. Like, there's a webcomic convention in the Philippines. Yan, sali na ako, ganyan. Pero tapos na pala. Like,
sayang. Yung comic strip, alam ko sa Laguna yun kasi nandun ako nun eh. Yun yung
nice.
Sun Pub. So, UPLB.
I think sila Jonas Diego yung nag-organize.
Nandun ako nun.
That would have been my first comic convention actually, pero I was too late.
Nakita tayo sa di ba? Sa Baguio pa.
Yeah, pero hindi yan yung first ko. Wala ka ba? Anyway, after that, the next opportunity I had was Metro Comicon 2010.
And, sa Mega Mall.
Yeah, sa Mega Mall. And then I forgot si Ernest Leo, one of the organizers noon, would always tell me na as soon as they opened up for applications, ako yung pinakauna na nag-confirm and nagbayad, confirm and everything. And that was maybe by the second day of them opening up for registration for yung Indigo Valley, tawag nila before. And so yeah, I was super excited kasi. So and then tumakas ako from the hospital, parang deposit sa bangko, ganyan, and then,
Hindi pa uso yung online transfer,
So yeah, and then I started collecting my online comic strips, and I realized that they don't look good kung grayscale siya. For whatever reason, wala akong alam nun. I didn't know anything about being a graphic artist, but and further proof is that I used Microsoft Word as my layout software.
Ay,
Yeah, your reaction was says everything. But
Kasi walang nagtuturo din sa'yo. Ako, hindi ko alam eh. Nung
oh,
wala akong
I didn't know.
mag-comics, gamit kong font, Comic Sans eh. Wala, hindi ko alam na bawal palang gamitin.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't use Comic Sans. I used another font. But yun, I would lay out my book on Microsoft Word. I'd print it out in the hospital printer, and then in full color. And
Secret.
yes,
Wala namang nakikinig.
and then I would also print at home, ganyan. And this is all in my spare time in between patients. Ganyan, I would print out pages, and then yung gamit ko pang press ng book, yung medical books ko, since mabigat naman sila, yun yung pang press ko ng comics. And I was able to make maybe 80 copies in full color, and then I sold those in Metro Comicon, and I sold maybe 79 of them. Yung one I kept for myself.
When did you start printing na offset?
Right after that, kasi ayoko nang ulitin yung experience na yan.
Matrabaho yun.
Oo, matrabaho talaga. So, believe ako sa mga tao na who keep that up. But yeah, because of my success in Metro Comicon 2010, I decided, sige, I'll have this offset printed na. And the mistakes I had before, I would rectify them. I didn't use Microsoft Word again. I made the print a bit bigger because my first release was the print was quite small, but my goal was to squeeze as many comic strips as I could into one page. Pero
dami mo ng material eh.
But just I think it's because I used Microsoft Word. Pagka-print, nag-shrink pa siya lalo. But people still bought it and enjoyed it, so that's nice. And then further printing, offset. I made the print a bit bigger, and it came out professionally. It's the exact same book, but they did the pressing, the lamination of the cover, the stapling, saddle stitching, and everything. So it came out nice. I had 1,000 copies printed. I think I only have 10 left now. And ayun. So that's the story.
Kung halimbawa may mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, yung 11 na nanonood, kung meron sa kanilang gustong bumili ng comics mo, do you do online orders? Or may website ka ba na pwede silang umorder?
Well, I had to stop because of the pandemic. But yes, you can message me on my Facebook page. I have Philippine rates and also Singapore dollar rates. The rates that are on my Facebook page are US dollar rates. But if you message me through my Facebook page, you depending on where your shipping address will be, the rates might change depending on the market.
Balik tayo sa pinaka-umpisa, Doc. What made you make comics? Ano yung mga comics na binasa mo dati tapos na-inspire kang, I wanna make my own comics?
Let me think. If I were, it all started, of course, with similar to a mutual friend of ours. It all started with Peanuts, and I was a big fan of Charlie Brown and Snoopy. In fact, my first comic crush ko was Peppermint Patty. Long time ago. And then after that, I guess the next comic I was into was Old Master Q, and then But what really made me dream about being a cartoonist was Garfield. Um, uh, on TV, there was this yung parang 10th anniversary special yata niya or 20th, di ko malala. And then there was a moment na si Jim Davis, yung creator ng Garfield, na kasama niya yung mga kapwa niyang cartoonist. And they were talking about, being a cartoonist, what motivates them then, ganyan. And then as a young boy, talagang, yan, gusto kong maging ganyan. And sorry, may nakita akong question na natuwa ko.
Actually.
And then after that, I would read yung mga comic strips sa Manila Bulletin, which is the newspaper that my parents subscribed to. My Little Pupong, or I think later on it's just called Pupong. And then Cesar Asar, Baltic and Company, tsaka sa pinaka-bottom, what was Help Wanted. I was really into those comic strips. And the syndicated ones that were there then, yung Archie, what else? Ayan. So my first love talaga was comic strips, the newspaper comic strips, and that's what I wanted to get into talaga. I feel na as an artist, it's a different flavor, a different way of thinking. Parang it's a world ng mga komedyante siguro. The comic strip artist yung parang stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Kasi yung jokes mo have to be short, concise, tapos dapat may parang rhythm and timing. Ganyan. In order to deliver a gag.
Yung iba kala nila madali lang gumawa ng comic strip. Sige, gumawa kayo, tingnan nyo kung gaano siya kahirap.
Oh, mahirap siya. And yun nga, may fundamentals that you have to learn then. And I didn't go to any class for it. So I had a hard time. It took me how many years to get into a newspaper. Yeah. And but yeah, through reading comic strips and trying to study why they were working on me, that's how I developed the skills and the fundamentals to do what I do. Other comics I was into in the 90s, I was into X-Men, Spider-Man. I revisited my love for Asterix and the Adventures of Tintin. And then when I was in med school, Heavy Metal magazine.
May kopya ko niyan, isang Heavy Metal. Ang ganda ng mga artworks nila doon.
Oh, yeah.
Comic section, mga sci-fi na stories.
Yeah, I loved it. Even yung mga pangit, no, but what you would consider pangit for heavy metal, gustong-gusto ko pa rin eh.
Wild ng yung mga stories.
Yeah, wild talaga.
So, kailan ka nagsimulang mag-convention outside of the Philippines? Tapos paano yung nagsimula?
I think my first, as I mentioned earlier, it was Singapore. It was in Singapore. That was in 2012. I just felt na parang, okay, I'm doing well in the comic convention scene here in Manila. It's parang, and I think I also did one in Baguio. So what would be the next step? No? So I thought, sige, let's take the risk. Let's do one abroad. Ganyan. And there are things that may mga limitation that I put on myself in order for me to decide where to go. One, the US was still it was a pipe dream. There's no way I could get into that. So baby steps. I wanted an English speaking country. So Singapore was the natural next step for me. Fortunately, Comicon Inc. also maybe felt the same way. We all went at the same time. So that was nice.
What about yung sa US? How did it happen? May mga connections ka ba? Yung mga ibang comic strip artist na nagtumulong sa'yo para...
No, not at all. Even here, I had no connections when I started introducing my work in the Philippine circle.
Ano?
Yeah, I would read blogs on what when I did sign up for Metro Comicon 2010, I would read blogs in kay Gio Paredes and other blogs, like what it's like, what are the usual price points for comics. I had to do my research na, and so wala talagang alam eh. I didn't know anybody there. One of my nicest memories was yung exhibitor meeting the weekend before Metro Comicon 2010. I was there. I knew nobody, wala akong kilala. And then everyone there parang makakilala. So parang I felt a bit left out. Nakaupo lang sa likod. And then doon sa registration table, may the person getting the where you fill up your information. Tinanong niya, so what are you going to exhibit? Ganyan. I'm going to try to sell my comics. Ganyan. And then oh wow, what comic do you make? And so, I do one called Callous. And yeah. Whatever, I'm sure you have no idea who I am and what my comic is. Pero, appreciate ko din. Thank you for trying to make me feel a bit better. Pero, yeah, I knew nobody. And then when the actual convention came around, wala talagang kilala. I was the first person there yata dun sa indie area. And then
How was the yung feeling mo nung may bumili yung first sale mo? Naalala mo pa ba?
Yes, I do, and I still remember who it was. And yeah, the first sale was like the best. So parang wow, okay, masaya na ako. Parang pwede nang mag-pack up and go home. Parang ganun. And then yung mga katabi ko on my left side, puro Manila Bulletin sila. So parang I don't deserve to be in this thing. And yeah, the first comic person I met was si Sir Andrew Villar. He had with him si Ado Aparentado. And then next to Andrew was si Hazel from Callwork. And then so parang I shouldn't be in this row, ganyan. Pero sige. And then I learned from them then how they attracted their customers and how they explained their things. So I was watching them and learning from them as well. Katabi ko, on my right side pala sila Norby Ella. Yan. They had their own way of doing things then. And then parang since I was in the middle, parang midway of how they were doing things differently, to make a long story short. And I was me being in between them, I was in the midpoint of how they were doing things. But yun and then yung mga exhibitors, yung mga komikero na made a name for themselves na umiikot din sila ganyan. Ako naman, sino sila, I didn't know who they were. Naalala ko si Ado, he was saying, "Uy, malapit na si Sir Budget." Okay, sino yun? So, but then, dumating siya, and then may suot siyang shirt na yung kambal nandito sa harap ng shoulders niya. Na-interest ako dun sa design ng shirt niya, ganyan, and then parang but still I didn't know who he was and what he did, ganyan. Pero he still, he asked me about my comic, tas in-explain ko. Naalala ko malaksing tawa niya when I gave my pitch. Tapos bumili naman siya, and then that night he sent me a tweet asking me, "Are you in the newspapers?" Ganyan. Like, no. and then he enjoyed my work, ganyan. So that was a big uplifting thing. Another nice experience was when Sir Jerry Alangilan, siguro one of only two people that I actually recognized, came up to me. Pero I think na sense niya na I didn't know him that well kasi he had to introduce himself. Yung mga katabi ko, di na siya nag-introduce. Pero pagdating sa akin, "Hi, I'm Jerry Alangilan." Sabi niya. Yung naisip ko, yung Jerry Allen sa Stone. But then so and he bought na rin yung comic, and then he was a big supporter. I don't think my work is one of his favorites, but he was a big supporter pa rin. And I really appreciated how he would champion indie comics at the time. No?
Kaya nga, nakakamiss si Sir Jerry.
Yeah. And si Andrew na rin, and even one of my
Grabe.
earliest friends.
Ayun. How is it different yung convention sa Pilipinas to the foreign conventions?
I was asked that also in the US, and I'll give the same answer.
Dito,
What
Tagalog, doon English, ganun.
yung na-strike sa akin, hindi yung hindi yung ganong silang ka-different. It's actually kung how similar they are. I was doing the exact same thing I was doing in the US and in Singapore as I was in Manila, and the reception was still good. And I think I would love to think na comic fandom is a common language, and it's very heartwarming to see nga yung this love for all things geek. Geeking out is a common common language. Well, we all get together to geek out over the similar things, ganyan. And yeah, my experiences abroad were fantastic, but the actual experience of being there, apart from the differences in maybe race, it's exactly the same.
Nice.
Mm.
Sanay ka naman mag-English, kaya okay lang.
Kailangan
Pero
when you're a doctor, kailangan din
parehas lang ba na maraming nagbebenta ng prints and stickers doon? O mas marami dito?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I don't know about stickers, but definitely prints. Print sales are really big in the US and in Singapore. It's almost exactly the same. I would maybe there are additional things abroad than here. Like abroad, a big comic convention like Emerald City Comicon or even Singapore Comicon would have a gaming section as well. So and gaming is a very broad sense in video games, and then there are yung mga tabletop games, stuff like Magic the Gathering. Although I think Asia Pop Comic Con also featured Magic the Gathering before.
Dito sa Pilipinas, separate yung gaming convention sa
Yeah.
convention.
And then, even in Singapore, it was mainly a toy convention, may comic part then. But now it's a comic convention. But there are a lot of toys, there are a lot of stuff for gaming, ganyan. Maybe two years ago in Singapore Comic Con, there 1/3 of the whole floor was for the esports arena. And it was a great atmosphere though, kasi narinig mo yung excitement eh. Tapos meron ng parang little stage for yung sorry, yung J-pop fans. May mga nagko-concert na nagko-cover ng mga J-pop songs or mga songs from anime, ganyan. Tapos may maingay sila, may little mosh pit pa sila, ganyan. So ang ganda ng atmosphere doon.
Dito rin.
No, you know what? Yes, I wish there were events like that here, and stuff like Asia Pop Comic Con or maybe ToyCon is another example. Pero I really appreciate the Comic Con. They are very, very comic book centric. I hope they stay that way forever, because it's a big deal for a person like me who is selling mainly
Comics.
books,
Yes.
and everyone there is there for comic books, so it's a great experience. Then I have nothing against, of course, having people who sell prints or stickers or so on. I enjoy it then, but there's something nice to have that one convention specifically for your demographic.
Mix talaga, no? Kaya, yun, nanonood sila Sherry sa si John ngayon. No? Thank you, John. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Comicon Inc. We appreciate all of your efforts.
Absolutely.
So, Doc Carlo, ano yung maa-advise mo sa mga gustong mag-webcomics or gumawa ng sarili nilang stories to produce online or for print? Ano yung
Um,
advice na gusto mong makuha dati na hindi mo nakuha?
Oh, wow.
Na sana alam ko na to
So,
dati pa, ba't ko lang nalaman?
no, you know what? Not really in that aspect, but you just have to start. Yeah, as the saying goes, just do it. If you have this idea for a comic and you have a good feeling about it, just produce it. Just start. All of us, no matter how in all degrees of success, uh, are better today than when we started out. So
Yeah.
even me, when I look at my work from even just a year ago, parang, "Ugh, ano yan?" Um, art wise, no. Looking at my work from back then, like you could see, and I'm sure it's the same for many more or most artists. Now, if you see your first work and your work today, parang you could see how far you've progressed. Um, so where you are now is probably your worst point if you keep going, but you nothing will happen until you start. So you have to just do it, get your work out there. It's easier than ever before. You don't even have to make your own website. You can go on Webtoon or Tapas or any other webcomic hosting, Drunk Duck and so on, and just get your work out there, market. If you want, just building it and waiting for people to come, that's not going to work. You have to
Yeah.
market. Like I said earlier, for me it was 80% of the work, marketing online, and even with that, it's easier than ever before. You have so many avenues to do it. That there's no such thing as the hashtag, but now it's a super powerful tool. Um, so yeah, and you have social media now where you can be visible. You don't even have to go to comic conventions now. um, there are business models that you can experiment on now that I didn't have back then. You have Patreon now, and you have all sorts of crowdfunding avenues. Even Tapas and Webtoon will pay you if you do well. And yeah, it's easier than ever before, but that may also mean that in order to stand out, you'd have to do a lot more work, a lot more marketing work. You may have to invest in yourself as a business to make yourself more angat from everyone else, because standing out now is probably harder than ever before, but
Kasi madali.
getting started is easier than ever before.
Ayun. So apart from Callous, Mouse, and Immortal Wings, any other projects na may niluluto ka pa bang bago?
No, not right now. I'm just continuing Callous Mouse and Immortal Wings. Um, oh yeah, well, na-mention ko na rin. But yes, I'm writing a sequel to Immortal Wings, and I do have a new artist tapped for
Nice.
it. And yeah, me and Rod are on board as co-writers for it, and then we have a new Pinoy artist who will take the artistic reins in Immortal Wings, at least for the second volume.
Secret pa
So
kung
yeah, kilala mo
ano yan.
siya. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing the script. It's writing the second volume of Immortal Wings is a huge challenge. It's there are story points that I'm really struggling to really nail, no, and pero I'm sure we'll get there, and then we'll have it out when we can.
Ano ba, challenging bang makipag-collab sa artist? O
I've been very blessed to have worked with Pilar and Rod. They've been very professional. Rod in particular, nakakagulat how professional he is. Um, uh, yes, I would say he's a true level above everyone. Everyone I've tried to work with or talk to. He really is a step above and worth every cent na I've paid him. Um, and of course, he's been a good friend. Yes, Pilar always has a surprise up her sleeve for you, and whenever she gives me her pages, it's always a delight. Um, and this new artist is exciting.
Sayang. Kung wala ba tong COVID, i-release nyo ba this year?
No, it's all on me. I mean, it's only during the quarantine that I was able to finish Mouse issue 3, and now that quarantine is over, I don't know when I can really sit down and start really getting Immortal Wings, really well written. I kind of pride myself on how well I pace my panels and pages. So I do pay attention to that. Again, whoever said it's easy to write a comic, it's not. Kala mo, yeah, you just write it and all the work is nasa artist na yan. No, it's hard.
May mga inputs din ba si Sir Rod sa stories?
Yes, he actually for particularly in the final issue of Immortal Wings, there were a string of jokes that he felt wouldn't work. So he said, maybe we should take this out, and I respected his what do you call this, experience. So sige, okay, you know better than me when it comes to this. So sige. But I still think sometimes, what if I left it there? And but
Hindi, apply mo na lang sa ibang comics like Callous, na yung Mouse.
that's the funny thing. There are characters that were supposed to be in Immortal Wings that ended up in Mouse. Because I thought I would never be able to produce Immortal Wings. So there's one character in particular who ended up being in Mouse, and who will be featured quite prominently in the 3rd issue. But she was originally meant for Immortal Wings. So then in Callous, I think there were some situations that were meant for Immortal Wings also that ended up in the fantasy stories of Callous. So much so that when Rod and I decided to start producing Immortal Wings, okay, I had already put this character in this comic and this situation in this other comic, so I kind of did have to write Immortal Wings again from scratch. But it was still a fantastic experience. One of my best experiences was going to a comic shop in London and seeing Immortal Wings on the shelf as one of the new releases. May picture pa ako dun eh. Yeah. Parang kung ito yung mga comics, like, hey, look.
That's me. That's my book.
Yeah, tapos ko pa, na-rearrange ko pa para maging mas prominent siya sa shelf.
Ayan. Last 2 questions.
Okay.
First question. Naisip mo bang mag-crossover yung mga characters sa Callous to Mouse to Immortal Wings?
Yes, in fact. No, I wouldn't say. I made Callous, the universe of Callous, in such a way that kasi when Dr. Rian does go to not yet to the world of the Guardian Ducks, but may setting na puro clouds lang. And then I call that the interrealms. Now the reason why I made that is so it would be possible for my characters to enter the interrealms and to go into someone else's universe.
Mm.
So parang may mga gateways ganyan to go into different universes ganyan.
So pwedeng magkita-kita talaga, no?
Yeah, and And if you look at the final issue of the first volume of Immortal Wings, nandun yung mga Guardian Ducks. So it was nice then to see how Rod, how Rod would draw my characters from Callous. But yeah, um, as for Callous and Mouse, I don't think I've hinted at any crossovers yet. But ayun, I might have given away a big spoiler for the second volume of Immortal Wings. Pero um, yun, we'll see what will happen.
Ayan, so final question, Doc. Since mahilig ka din manood ng mga cartoons, TV shows, saka anime,
Yeah.
sino daw yung current waifu mo, sabi ni Pilar?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know the answer to that, actually. Ang dami nila.
Yung pinaka-recent na pinanood mo na, okay. Isang cool character.
I can't even remember what my most recent one is.
Ano yung last anime na pinanood mo? Or cartoon show?
The last was a movie, yung Weathering with You. Yung, from the guy who made Your Name. But you know, the character there is way too young for me. Let me think.
The pinaka final question, medyo mahirap talaga yung ganito.
Kind of like what's her name? Raftalia from Shield Hero. Anong title nun? Rising of the Shield Hero. Mika Sackerman. She's cool too. Oh my gosh. Not really from an anime, but si Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
Marami crush din doon eh. Nilalaro ko yung game Final Fantasy na remade.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Satisfied ka ba as a fan na nilaro mo yung 7 sa PS1 tapos yung current remake?
Yes, I'm very satisfied. I don't want to give too much away from the actual game, pero I enjoyed it immensely. For many years, since 1997, Final Fantasy 7 was my favorite game of all time. And then when the remake came out, as I was playing it, parang, you know, I still kind of enjoyed the original more. Pero later on, parang, yeah, I really like this game. Yes, that's the thing. I was really looking at myself to see if it's just the nostalgia factor. But sobrang na-enjoy ko yung game. I love the story and how they expanded the original story. I was really...
Hindi siya retelling. Parang ano siya. May dinagdag sila? Ganun ba?
Yeah. Like side characters na so parang baliwala lang before, talagang they really fleshed out. It was great writing, really. You really really felt for the characters as they went through what they were going through.
Natalo mo ba yung toughest boss dun sa game? Yes. Alam ko sa Final Fantasy 9 kasi yun lang yung nag-iisang Final Fantasy na natapos ko. Si Osma, yung bilog. Siya yung pinaka dun eh. Pero sa Final Fantasy 7 merong alam ko pinaka
the hardest boss in the original Final Fantasy game is not in the remake.
Wala.
But the hardest boss in the remake, yeah, natalo ko siya.
Si Sephiroth? Hindi.
Huh?
Si Sephiroth
I wouldn't. Yeah, you know, it's a given Sephiroth is there, pero I wouldn't say that he was the toughest.
Oh, iba yung Final Fantasy, merong isang boss na sobrang hirap talunin. Na ano lang siya, optional kung gusto mo siyang talunin or hindi.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the original Final Fantasy game, I think the toughest boss to beat was I forgot what color. I think Emerald Weapon. I'm not sure.
Yun tama, oo.
But
may strategy pa, dapat may isa kang character na patay para matalo mo siya. Alam ko yun.
I don't know the strategy because never ko siya natalo.
Ano,
Uh,
kasi may yung kasama ko, tatlo kami, nilaro niya yung 7, may isa naglaro nung 8, ako yung 9. So nag-research
wow.
kami kung paano tatalunin. So sabi doon, kailangan may patay kang isang character para matalo mo yun. Otherwise, patay ka talaga lagi.
Kasi si Emerald Weapon, he would do this parang thing na mawawala yung isang character mo eh. I guess you'd have to do that para to beat him eventually.
Pag natalo mo na siya,
I don't know, hindi ko nagawa.
gawin ko yun doon. Pwede mong balikan yung 7. Ayan.
Well, actually, in preparation for the remake, I was playing the original again. And also, what's this? Final Fantasy Tactics. It's another game I really like. And just before nag-start yung quarantine, hindi naman just before. No, that's true. Just before nag-start yung quarantine, bumili ako ng PS4 just to get Final Fantasy 7 remake. Anyway, it's cheaper now than ever before compared to nung bago pa yung PS4. And then what do you call this? I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. Then there were other games that I got since may PS4 now. I might as well get other games. Yung Parappa the Rappa was a game that I liked nung PlayStation 1 na they remade pala for the PS4. So me and the kids have been playing it. Alam mo ba yan? Si Parappa the Rappa. No, parang music rhythm game siya.
Parang Guitar Hero, nun?
Ano?
Parang Guitar Hero.
Parang Guitar Hero, but you're using the control pad. Tapos you're trying to catch the rhythm of yung pag-rap.
Nice. Ayun.
Oh, fun. Cute. Cute siya.
Marami rin akong games na nalaro pero dati pa yun, PS1 saka PS2. Tumigil na kasi ako nung
PS1 was a great time, di ba? Kasi the way you get games here in the Philippines, it's a no-brainer to get yung PS1 and then play all these games. It's fantastic time. Tapos parang nagpa-party pa na yung ano ba yun? Tekken 7? Oh, no, not Tekken 7. Tekken 3 or 4? Na yung Tekken, the main Tekken ng PS1, what was it? Was it 3?
Tekken 3, oo. Tapos nung PS2 na dumating yung Tekken Tag. Yung dalawa kayo.
Pero naalala ko, Tekken 3, talagang nagpa-party pa kami ng mga kaibigan ko para lang just to play Tekken.
So, uso yung fighting game nun eh, yung mga X-Men versus Street Fighter, ganun.
Yeah, may isa pa eh. Ano ba yan? Soul something. Soul Calibur? Soul Edge?
Soul Calibur. Yung mga espada. Tapos, Roar.
Tapos yung Final Fantasy 7 kasi hindi ako mahilig sa RPG talaga lalo pa noon. And talagang pinilit ako ng pinsan ko to play it. And tapos it ended up being my favorite game. And then after that, si Brave Fencer Musashi, nilaro ko na rin. Tapos yung mga Square games, anong isa? Parasite Eve. Another game I played. Actually, yung gameplay ng Parasite Eve very very similar to itong Final Fantasy remake.
Talaga? Ayokong mag-jump sa game ulit kasi nakakaubos ng oras.
That's true.
Nagtataka ako sa ito kung paano mo napagsasabay-sabay yung game, comics, writing, drawing.
Mahirap nga.
May trabaho ka pa.
But yeah, then what else?
Pamilyado ka pa.
Diablo was another game that I played a lot.
Sa PC naman.
Sa PC naman. Tsaka Helldivers was another one. And then, pero yung Diablo talaga. Oh, Counter-Strike. Pero yun sa mga internet cafe na.
StarCraft.
Ano? Sorry?
StarCraft.
Oh, StarCraft, Warcraft, Counter-Strike talaga. Oh my gosh.
Virtua Fighter. Tapos Need for Speed. Alam ko yun. Tapos habang nag-aantay ka, minsan Minesweeper muna.
Yeah, those were the days.
masyado nang nahahalata yung ano natin, generation. Hindi namin alam yun. Nag-research lang kami. Tapos, may ganito palang game. Ganun.
Yeah, I was asking my son ano yung mga usong game.
Mga Nintendo Switch na, mga Minecraft, ganun na lang yung alam ko
Hindi ko
talaga.
alam yan, Tito, eh. Nagkukuhan lang kami, ang tawag ng Fortnite. Apex Legends.
Mobile Legend, ganun lang alam ko. Ayun. So, Doc, thank you very much ha. So, ang mga comics mo ay Callous, Mouse, and Immortal Wings.
Yes.
Saan ka makikita online?
You can find me online on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook as Callous Comics. That's Callous Comics. You can visit my website, callouscomics.com, and cartoonistcaz.com. That's cartoonistcaz.com. And
may podcast ka rin ba, Doc? Oh.
No, I don't have my own podcast. Itong mga equipment ko was meant for my freelance voice acting, pero naging beneficial din sa sa pag-guest sa podcast. So.
Oo nga, speaking, hindi pa natin napag-usapan yung mga guesting mo sa mga podcast sa iba-ibang bansa. Sa susunod.
I've been on several podcasts already. TGT Media, that's two geeks talking. Tall Tale Radio, host ni Tom Racine. What else? May not webcomics.com. There's another webcomics podcast that I guested in. Several pala meant for webcomics. So, yan.
Paano kanila nakilala?
Usually through Twitter. Yung Two Geeks Talking tsaka yung Tall Tale Radio, tawag dito, I pitched my guesting. Yeah. And then they were, very excited na rin to, I have a doctor na also a cartoonist, ganyan. But otherwise, I would usually be approached to guest. They would send me private messages on Twitter or on Facebook, or an email, ganyan. And very open naman ako to guesting.
Sa mga foreign podcast, gaano katagal yun usually?
An hour or an hour and a half.
So sakto lang.
Yeah, meron din kaming me and Pilar have guested on Two Geeks Talking. Pati me and Rod Espinosa guested already on Two Geeks Talking also.
Nice.
So, yeah, he's a good host. Si Kurt Sasso.
Ayun. Thank you very much, Doc Carlo, sa
Thank you for having me.
Sa Indie Comics Podcast, merong Indie Comics Podcast sa Spotify. Tapos sa iTunes, pwede na rin
really?
Kung gusto mong mag-podcast, Doc, turuan kita kung paano. I know a way to upload it.
Podcast mo.
Ayun. Thank you very much, Comics people. Meron din kaming YouTube channel, Indie Comics Podcast. Search nyo lang K with a K sa YouTube. Subscribe na rin kayo for more content like this. Para mag 1,000 followers ay subscribers na. Kaya hindi pa namin na-monetize. Ang tagal na namin gumagawa.
Oh, wow. You should monetize it. Kahit a simple ad for maybe Comicon Inc. Baka you
maka 1K subscribers lang.
Comic Cat, there are 1,000 subscribers here in the Indie Comics Podcast. It's a no-brainer to me. Advertise on Indie Comics Podcast.
Indie Comics Podcast. Thank you sa mga nanood, kay Pilar, kay Mark, kay Sir Vic Robin, Erica, Tepay, JP, Sir Carlo Vergara, RH Kilantang, nanood sila kanina, nakita ko.
Oh, nice.
Ayun.
Yeah. And sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but if you have any questions for me, you can always ask me on Twitter. So see you there.
Yan, thank you very much, Doc. Thank you, Comics people. Hanggang sa susunod, ako si Mel Kasipit, Doc Carlo Jose San Juan, Callous Comics, Mouse, and Immortal Wings.
Mhm.
Support comics in the
Support
Philippines.
Yes.
Bye-bye, Comics people.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.